Behind my apartments where carcasses are discarded. Inside a garden of garbage, I am an artist of carnage. I find it cathartic, putting a hole where their heart is. Using their skull as a target and sending souls to the darkness. I'll burn down your house with your family trapped inside. Capture your wife, turn to ashes on my Instagram live. Punch you in the face till knuckle deep in your mind. Swing a bat and shatter every last piece of your spine. Bitch, I'ma kill you. You gotta die, you gotta die.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of HorrorCorridor, the horrorcore and extreme music show, part of the Quality Violent Cinema Network. And we're here with Darby O'Trill. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate having you, especially all the shit you got going on. We're going to talk a lot about it, but you got tours, you got albums. Shit, man. We'll talk all about it. But first off, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just chilling.
Yeah?
Hell
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man.
I love that Damian Quinn shirt. I want that.
Gotta represent that Leatherface of Wisconsin shit.
Fuck yeah. King. He's the king of the cult shit right now, dude, man.
100%. That's a
yeah.
legend right there.
And that's the first time I actually ever heard you was on Cult Shit Christmas. So, I mean, that was 2020 Cult Shit Christmas. So, I haven't really known about you for that long. It's only been about a year and some months, but since then I've really dove in to your discography. There's a lot to listen to.
Yeah, I've put out a lot of fucking music at this point. Up until about a year ago, though, it wasn't as like fine-tuned, and it's there's a lot of shit that's not that great of quality. But you know, that Cult Shit Christmas, that's around the time the quality improved. I really fuck with that song. When Damien hit me up, I was like in shock, because Damien's been like an idol of mine for years now, you know. So yeah, that's dope, man. That's how actually a good amount of people in the LSP fan base found out about my name and everything.
Fuck yeah, man. Like, it's got to be an honor to be doing anything with Dark Half.
Yeah, man.
That's the legendary albums they put out.
Graveyard Blues,
so good.
Chapters.
Hemingway is really underrated too. It's got a lot of good shit on it.
Fiend. Yeah. And that the Real American Horror Story tape, that shit's super dope. There's a lot of like that Basement Walls song, that shit's crazy. That like System of a Down rip.
Yeah.
So fresh.
And then even have you heard their demo that had like a bunch of like every song had scum on it? That's pretty good. It's like 6 songs.
Damn.
They do Demons in My Head, which was on Chapters.
Mm-hmm.
It's on that album, but every other song is pretty much original, like only on that EP. So it's not a demo, it's an EP, but kind of sounds like demo quality. But we'll stop talking about Dark Half for a little bit. But
shout out Dark Half.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Gino.
R.I.P. Gino. Fuck, that was terrible when that happened.
Yeah.
So what got you started in the wicked shit?
Honestly, it's a similar story to most people. Insane Clown Posse, you know. I saw the video for Halls of Illusion when I was a kid, and I was just captivated by it, you know. I thought the whole premise of the video with them going through like the carnival ride and all that type of shit, I just loved it, you know. And as a kid, like, I saw that video when I was like 10 or 11, you know, and growing up, I was never really into hip-hop. I'm still not like, I wouldn't consider myself like a hip-hop head, you know. Like, I fuck with horrorcore and the wicked shit, but like traditional hip-hop, like, you know, it's just not really my thing. So when I heard that, I was like, holy shit. And like, it just opened the door for a lot of things to me, you know. So ICP, Halls of Illusions, that's definitely my introduction to the wicked shit.
Yeah, I mean, their videos were fucking high production, lots of shit going on, but like, it was horror in the mainstream almost. Oh, it was in the mainstream for a second before they got like blackballed and stuff. But yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a good way to get into it. Were you ever into like the affiliate artists on the label, like Twisted or ABK or anything like that too?
Yeah, like, I mean, I have 2 Hatchet Man tattoos and shit. Like, once I found out about ICP, I was probably around like 13 or 14 when I really did a deep dive. Until then, it was just like me listening to the same fucking crusty, burnt ICP CD I had. But yeah, I fucked with everyone that was on the label, you know. But ICP is always my favorite.
Awesome.
That's always it just connected more to me. Yeah.
I agree. Like anytime that I start listening to another one more, I always go back to ICP as my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, I always bounce back to them for some reason. They just have the most longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just have a lot deeper cuts and a lot more lore behind it. And there's just a lot more to dive into, you know.
I agree. And so how long was it before you started getting more into like the actual underground of horrorcore, like we were talking about Dark Half, or maybe even getting into, because I know you're a huge 3-6 Mafia fan. When did you like start dipping your toes into like the devil shit and all that?
So it's funny because I got into 3-6 almost around the same time as ICP. My friend Dredd, he was super into 3-6 Mafia. And when Stay Fly came out, he'd always try to get me to listen to it. He's like, "Oh man, you'll love it. They're crazy, you know, 3-6, like it's some like crazy devil shit." And I was just like kind of a head ass as a kid, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a skateboarder. It's all about punk rock and ICP."
That was me too.
Yeah, but then eventually I heard Just Another Crazy Click. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is that group that Dredd's always trying to get me to listen to." And I'm like, "Damn, this is so good." And then my homie JR showed me Coop's like old like the Devil's Playground shit, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Because it's just so dark, and it's very gritty and grimy, and sounds like disgusting, you know, like the old 666 Mafia records, like the Killer Clan Kaze records, Crucifix Clan, like all of them had like a really just dark fucking sound, and it was pretty much like the same shit as like death metal, but without the screaming, you know. It just like it really hit me. So around the same time I got into 3-6 Mafia, I was probably like 14 or 15, and then shortly after that I was probably like 16 or 17 when I started getting into horrorcore. Like outside of Psychopathic Records, I found out about Scum, and that was basically through like the horrorcore.com and Kill Music forums back in the day, and like the old Fago Lovers forums and shit. And so I'd always see Scum, you know, and this is probably around the time of Only Bodies Left Behind. And so that record's always been like one of my favorite Scum records, because that was kind of my introduction to him. And then I heard that My Psychosis joint from Graveyard Blues. That was, I think, 2012. So I was just, around like 17. And so I heard that and I was like, holy fuck, this is so fresh, man.
Yeah.
So it's all within a span of like between, 11 to 17 is when everything really started clicking with me, and I started finding all the acts that I still listen to this day.
That's awesome. And then I also saw like on social media you're wearing a Madball shirt. When did you get into like New York hardcore and stuff? Was that just part of your punk upbringing, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I forgot how I found out about Madball. It might have been my dad, because my dad would always like, he hung around with like dudes that were kind of a little bit younger than him and shit, like through work, and so anytime like someone would be playing something, he'd ask to borrow the CD, and he'd bring it to me and let me listen to it. That's how I found out about like other shit like Green Jelly and shit, and Guar. One time he brought
Guar hat right here.
Yeah, I saw the Scone Dog shit, bro. That's so dope.
Yeah.
But
just saw them.
Oh, that's fresh, man.
Napalm Death. It's fucking awesome.
Oh shit. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. My homie Mark, Mark will probably come up multiple times in our conversation tonight.
Fuck yeah. Hey Mark. Hi Mark.
So my dad, I believe it was Set It Off, because Set It Off is like one of my favorite Madball songs. So I think that's the album that got me introduced to them, and that's around all the same time, so
that was my first Madball song that got me really into them too.
Yeah,
because that's when they tightened up their production and stuff. They were like starting to get like a lot more just like the bigger label sounding almost.
Yeah, because I believe that's like after they got the Roadrunner backing and everything.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Everything was like really tightening up. But I always just love the energy and Freddie's aggression with his vocals, and how I like it's weird because I liked hardcore because they were like almost rapping over like the metal type beats.
Oh yeah.
So I always thought that was super dope.
Have you ever heard Hoods from Sacramento?
Yeah, 100%.
I love them, and that's one of those groups that they don't go like take it to like the Limp Bizkit, like where it's corny, but like they definitely rap. You can tell they like rap.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you can tell they listen to more rap than hardcore.
yeah, that's like Biohazard. You know, they have a heavy.
Biohazard.
Yeah, but they do it well. You know, they like you said, it's not corny. It's not a bunch of like. I like Limp Bizkit. Don't get me wrong.
They got some good songs.
But it is like over the top and like cheesy and shit with like Biohazard and like hardcore in general. It's like
Scarhead. Yeah,
I love Scarhead.
Yeah.
Danny Diablo, Ezek, man, that's the god right there.
They got a new album coming out.
I know, bro. I'm so fucking hyped. Defiance, that shit's so dope. Woo. Hell yeah, man. And then in Crown of Thorns, bro. Fucking.
Yep. I actually named my band after them.
Oh, for real?
My band was called Train Yard after Train Yard Blues.
Hell yeah, that's so fresh, man. That's super dope.
We were a Biohazard ripoff band, pretty much.
Hey man, that's a good band to rip off. Fuck.
Okay. So do you still play punk music at all?
You know, at the beginning of like the whole pandemic thing, I was in a band. It was more of like I wouldn't say it was a ska band, but it was like definitely influenced by like reggae riffs and shit mixed with punk. We put out a like 6-song EP, and every song is like completely different. It's all like kind of punky, but that disbanded really quick because I can't help but write like how I feel and things I've experienced or been through or felt, you know, and it was a little too dark for the rest of the band.
Yeah.
So it fell apart really quick, and so that was in like 2020, and then last year, me and my homie Mark, we were chilling one night, and we made a grindcore EP. So there's like 4 grindcore songs we did up on SoundCloud right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it under your name or?
Nah, I gotta see. I'll send you the link to it.
Okay.
But I don't know what the fuck we called it. It might just be on Mark's fucking SoundCloud.
Oh, nice.
But it's like really shitty. Like Mark,
we had.
Yeah, almost like it's like if Anal Cunt was more drawn out like Cannibal Corpse, but still in that like minute-long time frame, you know.
Actually,
and so,
sounds good, so
cool. Mark was playing the drums with his fucking hands, like the electronic drum kit and shit. So it sounds like all over the place. But currently, I'm just focusing on like the shit I'm doing with Dev and the rap shit, you know.
Fuck yeah, dude. And it seems like it's kind of blowing up too. Like,
yeah,
it's probably kind of. Is it hard to keep up with? Like, is it avalanching? Like, I don't know. You got a label and like all these albums and tours and stuff. Like, it's a lot to keep up with.
It's definitely, you know, going up from where it was, because I've been doing like the rap music shit for like 10 years at this point, you know, like on and off. But really within the past like 2 or 3 years or so, I've really like put a full attempt towards it. And then I linked up with Devereaux, and we've just been making like hella music together.
Yeah.
So with like the whole LSP signing, there's definitely been like a large influx in, I guess, like a fan base, you know, and just like eyes on what we're doing over here. And, you know, with everything we've been working on and have coming up just this year alone, you know, yeah, right now it's kind of like avalanching or whatever. So
that's awesome. Well, congrats, man. Hopefully,
I appreciate it.
I think with your sound, man, you can probably make it to the big, like make it pretty big. Like, so
I appreciate that, man.
Hope the adventure continues.
Well, you know, we got this new album, Gully, coming out, and that's really like some crazy shit. It's hard to describe like the sound of it, but like we put out our last album, Piecemeal, and that's mostly a horrorcore record. Gully is everything we did on Piecemeal, but amplified to like infinity, and more melodies added in. Like I went back to like the punk rock roots and added more like kind of punky hooks and more like sung out hooks and shit. So it's like a really weird mix of like me talking about chopping bodies up and like all that type of cool shit, mixed with earworm hooks. So it's like people that don't fuck with the genre, if they hear just the melody of the hook, they're gonna be like sitting there like, fuck, why am I thinking about the disposal of a body right now and like how to clean it up and what chemicals to use? Why am I thinking, oh yeah, that idiot's fucking song?
Hell so, yeah. You had a few songs like that on Piecemeal that had the catchy hooks. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's the one, I think one of the ones after the one you did with Scum. I forgot what it's called though. I don't want to just run my mouth about something I forgot, but that album, man, it's good.
I appreciate that, man.
Holy shit. We were just talking about Kupsanika, like you did pretty much a tribute song on there.
Yeah.
Of Torture Chamber.
Yeah.
And that song's fucking badass.
Appreciate that.
You got some samples in there from other stuff that I'm trying. I feel like I heard a Slipknot sample, but I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Like a guitar or something. But
there's a Slipknot sample on an older song called Master Shakes. Oh no, what the fuck is that called?
Was it on Gut Pile? Because I was listening to Gut Pile today.
Yeah,
okay, that's where I heard it.
There's a surfacing sample.
That's what it was. Yeah,
yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Gut Pile's awesome. Like, and I heard that song. I was gonna ask you about it. It had a Mr. Bungle sample in the background.
Oh,
Orange Blood on Tile Linoleum.
Yeah. That's Roz Dilliams produced that shit. Yeah. That it's crazy because, well, it is a sample of Travolta by Mr. Bungle. Mm-hmm. It's also a sample from a Bedlam song that sampled that song.
Wicked shit.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Hell yeah. But
first time I heard that, I'm like, damn, they're using Mr. Bungle. Like, I love when I can connect to older people through horrorcore, because like I'm old, I'm 35, and like so I grew up with Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, all that shit. So I love when I can like hear references from like older shit, you know, too. But then I also love your shit because it's new. And it's not like I'm not used to that kind of horrorcore, and it's like turning me on to like a whole new world of shit too. Like a lot of this Bandcamp and like SoundCloud, people that have come from that, it's like a whole world I didn't even know about. So
yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of really dope shit out there, man. And it's crazy because, like, a lot of kids that, like, I've interacted with on, like, SoundCloud and shit, they have a darker sound, but they're not involved with horrorcore at all, you know? A lot of it comes from, like, kids trying to, like, have a horrorcore aesthetic, but then they're not really into that shit, you know? But there's some good shit out there.
Witchy stuff and culty and witchy stuff is really big right now. Like, it's just... I mean, you go to the mall, you'll find it at any store. So, I mean, it's kind of coming out into rap, too. And then, like, But, I mean, I don't think it could ever be confused with what you're doing. I think if a lot of those people saw what you're doing, they're like, okay, this is a lot grosser. This is a lot more vivid. And, like, a lot more descriptive, too. That, like, your lyrics are painting a picture where I feel like a lot of the other stuff is pretty repetitive. So,
I appreciate that, man.
Never know what you're going to get on one of your songs. It's always different.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. And that, you know, that's what we aim for, you know, especially while I'm working with Dev, because Dev, like, offers a lot of guidance and, like, helps me kind of construct ideas and shit. You know, like, we go through long talks about, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to make a song with something like this in it, or, like, use this idea somewhere around here, you know? So it's dope, man. We're just trying to make dope songs, you know, and the descriptive shit is something I'm, like, good at for some reason. I don't know why, and a lot of people hit me up and they're like, man, like, you just, like, really honed in on one very minute detail about something graphic and morbid, like, and it's just stuck in my head now.
Yeah, and you don't say, like, I can't guess the punchline. Like, I can't guess. Like, you'll say something totally off the wall. And not so off the wall that it's like abstract, like a Cool Keith song or anything, but it's like, it's like, you know, you're never going to say exactly what I think. So it's cool that you're doing that. Whatever that style is like, did you learn that from somebody, like your writing style or
nah, it's just how I write, you know, like I write sung out hooks and then I write rapped out verses about murder and gore. Yeah. And it's, you know, I would say like Violent J would be a huge inspiration because I do tend to write more storytelling as opposed to just like writing raps, you know? Like I don't really rap about rapping or rap about my clothes or like shit like that, unless I'm talking about like, oh, a piece of your brain is staining my clothes right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
you talk about a lot of like, I've noticed like a lot of daily life, like just waking up and chilling sometimes too, or hanging out with your cat, or like, I don't know. So
and it all depends, you know, like there's so much music I've written and recorded that's not even out, and most of it is like that type of shit, you know. For a while, like on Gut Pile, there's a lot more I guess songs dealing with like mental health type shit, because during that time I was going through like certain shit where I wasn't able to write like as much like storytelling shit. It was more of just like a release of like how I felt. So you do get a lot of songs where it's like waking up, like, why the fuck is this? What the fuck, you know? So
yeah, people need that too, you know, and especially on a horrorcore album, sometimes it's good to have those songs to mix in, just kind of bring you back to reality, and then just go back into the nightmare. I mean, even serial killers have to deal with normal mental issues and real life problems.
I mean, that's probably why they're serial killers.
Exactly. They just couldn't hold back their violence like we have to.
Exactly.
Quickly, did back to the punk thing, did any of your old band Brain Dead, did any of your songs cross over into, like, did you sample them or like ever use anything from that?
Sadly, no. So we were a victim of the MySpace purge, and all our songs were like exclusively on MySpace, and we're all a bunch of idiots. Well, it's basically me and Mark. And so we never saved any of our songs, and there was a time when all of the music on MySpace got like wiped out or whatever, and our songs got wiped out and never came back.
Damn.
Most of our songs, honestly, were just like shitty Misfits covers, and we did Code Blue by TSOL.
Oh yeah.
And like we were really into like the horror punk type shit.
Yeah.
But we did have a few originals. One of them was an Idiot song called Tits, and it's just saying how everything has tits. We had a song called How to Kill a Cop, and that's when I really started going from like punk shit to rap shit, because I was playing drums, and then I started playing drums and singing, and then I got my little brother Joey to play drums, and then I was just like singing or basically rapping. So we took the riff from In the Hall of the Mountain King, like that old fucking song, and turned it into a song about killing cops. Actually, we performed that, and it was one of the first times I ever rapped in front of a crowd. And I wore sunglasses, and I was nervous as fuck. So I had my eyes closed, and I'm just like doing the song, and all of a sudden I feel someone tugging at my my pants, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down, and it's my friend Katie, and she's like, stop. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she points, and there's cops watching us perform this song.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh fuck.
That's
we got
good.
banned from that venue. So,
I bet.
Or that kid's backyard that doubled as a venue.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, still, that could be a big loss depending on what town you're in. And,
yeah.
Were there a lot of venues growing up around? Or?
Nah.
No, just house
not
shows?
at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Where I live on an island at the bottom of Florida. So like growing up here, you know, there's never been a music scene. There's kids that make music, and there's shows that have happened, but there's never been a thriving music scene. It's all basically like bar bands and cover band type shit, you know. No one's really like trying to put shit together. I've tried booking shows at like the fucking Legion halls and all that shit, and they're just not trying to hear it. They're like, not like hip hop, no, not at all. So,
yeah, I don't. That sucks, you know. Kids need somewhere to go, and they're just gonna end up having house parties where they can do more unregulated stuff. So
exactly. So
yeah. I was wondering, like, how was it being a juggalo growing up and also being in the punk scene? Because for me, being in the hardcore scene, I got made fun of a lot for being a juggalo. Like, honestly, nobody supported it, not one person. And I just kind of took it like, man, just whatever, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
At least I'm comfortable with bands I like, you know? But
yeah.
How about you? Like, was that weird? Like, anybody give you shit?
Yeah, same story as you, you know, like, there a lot of the people down here, because it's a small town and shit, so it was just like me and my band of idiot friends, and then there was these other band of idiot friends, and they were more like the metal elitist types, you know. And they just did not fuck with me at all, just based off the fact that I wore Insane Clown Posse shirts to school every single day of high school, you know. So yeah, I got made fun of all the time, called insane clown pussy and all this other stupid shit, you know. So yeah, I went through it, but I was just like, I don't care, man. I'm like, I don't, whatever. You don't like what I like. I don't like what you like. You know, you're wearing a fucking Dio shirt. I'm not a fan of Dio, but I'm not gonna give you any shit for it. You know.
Yeah, and that's how. I mean, that's how you wrote that song, "Jugga Lonely." Like that's what
Yeah,
helped.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, you can't really just can't care because anyone that's gonna talk shit about that, they're just not comfortable with what they're interested in. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny because now those same kids will hit me up and send me like pictures of Fago they found in fucking gas stations. They're like, "Oh man, you know, like this made me think of you," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
It's accepted
crazy.
now. I mean, people accept it now, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it this way than like how it was like 10 years ago. So.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I was wondering though, like, would you ever work with Psychopathic, or if Jay was like, "Hey, I want you to join this group," or like, would you ever do anything like that, or?
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's funny because you know, Devereaux, like that's like my best friend. He's also the producer I use. You know, like everything I do from here on out, you know, since Piecemeal is produced by Devereaux, and he produces for ICP and shit. So like I've like joked around. I'm like, yeah, you know, like if it ever came up, I don't think I would have to do a song with ICP because I don't think it would sound right. You know, I'm really about like making songs that sound like correct, and I wouldn't just do a song with someone just because it's like, oh, this is ICP, so I have to do a song with them. If like the perfect opportunity arose where it's like something where both of us would sound good on, then hell yeah. As for like if I was signed to them in the future or like do any like work for them, absolutely, you know, like that's the shit, you know. So
yeah, it would be such a crazy trip working for
yeah,
them.
yeah, man.
I had a question too about your name, Darby O'Trill. What was that inspired from? My guess was the singer of the Germs.
Yeah.
Darby Crash. Is that correct?
No.
All right.
R.I.P. Darby Crash. I love the Germs, but Darby O'Trill is actually a play off of the movie Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which is a movie about a guy who's basically running from death. He hears like the banshee, and when you hear the banshee, it's coming to take you to the other side, you know? So when I was a kid, my grandpa loved that movie and would play that movie for me all the time. I used to rap under the name Jimmy Knox, which is my real name is Jimmy, but Knox was taken from the movie Natural Born Killers. And I was like the illegitimate child that you see at the end or whatever, you know. But I was signed to a label, and after I left that label, I wanted to like completely rebrand. So I was using Darby O'Trill as just like a goofy side name. So for a minute, I was just like, all right, I'm going to just use this until I think of something better. And then it stuck. I started making all the connections I have as Darby O'Trill. And now it's like, now I'm signed with LSP and I'm putting out all these horrorcore records. And it's like, Darby O'Trill does not sound like the name of a horrorcore artist, but I guess that's part of like, you know, part of it.
It's working. I think it really works with like your imagery and stuff. You do all that album art yourself, right? I think you said that. You draw a lot of it. And really, I don't know. It just all it's kind of this random feel, like, but it doesn't feel like it's like lost. It just feels like you have a direction, but it's very random and stuff.
Yeah, because everything, all the album art has been done by me except for Gully, the new album. We got someone else to do that. But usually I try to contrast like the really fucked up lyrics with like something cartoony and shit because I love cartoons and it's just part of the whole package, you know.
It kind of reminds me. Have you ever heard of the Vomit Gore trilogy, like Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, Regurgitated Sacrifice, or Slow Torture Puke Chamber?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
They're like
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're just like people mutilating each other, but they're like throwing up on like in a head and then drinking their own puke out of it. Yeah, it's pretty dumb. But yeah, they did the same thing. Like it's like kids, kind of like kid style drawings, and you don't really know what you're gonna get. And then when you like watch the movie, it's the most grossest thing ever.
Yeah, I 100% know what you're talking about. And maybe in the back of my mind, like seeing those covers maybe inspired like that kind of shit, but I haven't thought about that in a fucking long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what our Quality Violent Cinema podcast is like, all about those types of movies. The ones that are like too gross to even talk about on anything else. But
yeah.
But yeah, any I was gonna ask about, so Florida, any true crime murders or anything like that that inspired you? Like anything around there? I know Bundy lived there for a while, but
Honestly, I don't really dive too much into that type of shit. I get a lot of my like horror inspiration from like movies and shit and like comics and other like horror music, you know?
Yeah.
I never really dive too far into like real life crime except for, you know, yeah.
Well, I've heard Scum say that he likes to listen to or watch the news. He'd rather get inspiration from the news or like a real death footage or something rather than like a horror movie, because it's a lot more real, and you can tell by his music. Your music like has some of that feel to it, like a real life gore feel, but also has kind of the B movie. Like you have Cat Dead Details Later is the name of your album, which is like inside joke from Reanimator.
Yeah.
And you have references to a lot of movies from like the 80s era of horror. Would you say that that's kind of like your sweet spot when it comes to horror, is like the 80s campy stuff? Yeah.
I really love like trauma movies and fucking Dead Alive and Bad Taste and like Society, like all those kind of like
Frankenhooker.
Yeah, you know, just like really fucking
Oh, you
trashy.
had a song called Street Trash too, so that's another really fucking gory, fucked up movie where they play penis football.
Yeah, man. I just really love shit like that, you know, like Evil Dead 2 and fucking shit like that. It's just, you know, what I grew up on. What got me into horror is like kind of the slapstick horror shit.
Yeah.
Just very campy fucking practical effects and all that shit.
I'm personally a big fan of like the 70s grindhouse and exploitation stuff. Do you like that stuff at all?
Yeah, I like some, you know, and I'm trying to think, like off the top of my head,
Maniac or like
Maniac,
Cannibal Holocaust and stuff.
And Cannibal Pharaoh, I love that shit. Hobo with a Shot. Well, that's like a newer one.
That's like a homage to the time.
Yeah.
But that's a good one too.
Yeah, man. I really like shit like that. It's funny. Me and my friend were just talking about Maniac the other day.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that shit in a minminute though. That's a fucking dope.
On the Jason Porter episode too. I think I'll try to bring it up like every single episode.
I have a button up somewhere from Rotten Cotton, a Maniac button up.
Fuck yeah. Rotten Cotton's the shit, man. I love their simple designs.
Yeah, I love Rotten Cotton, man.
Yeah, I feel like I would love it like if they made like, if I had something for them to do a design for, I would love them to like do my merch or something.
Yeah, man. Sick. I actually found out about them from the fucking. Have you ever seen the Black Devil doll?
I know about it. I haven't seen it. I know they made like an unofficial sequel or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they pretty much made that movie.
Yeah.
That's like their movie pretty much. And that's how me and my homie found out about them. A lot of my old Rotten Cotton shirts I've cut up at this point and turned into like patches for pants and shirts and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're dope, man.
Yeah, they're fucking great. I found out about it long time ago, but I remember Necro and Hyde used to always wear their shit.
Yeah, the blood sucking freak shit.
Yeah. PLR. So I bought the Hellraiser one back because I saw fucking Hyde wearing it once.
So fresh, fresh.
Yeah, I love. Would you ever work with those guys? PLR. They don't really work with that many people. Well, Hyde does.
Yeah.
Hyde does a lot of collabs.
Necro, I know he's earned it, but he's very like, you know, kind of involved in himself and shit. And I love Necro. Necro's like one of my biggest inspirations. You know, when I first started rapping, it was over Necro instrumentals and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got eternal love for Necro, Hyde, PLR, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably work with Hyde at some point. But
look, yeah, he just did a song with Gmo, and I think he's been doing some other collabs with underground artists. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that he's kind of branching out. Like, I wish Necro would. Necro was supposed to do this huge collab album that was going to have like Mars and Apathy and like just people from all circles, and it never happened. But
yeah.
So since you joined LSP, how has your career changed?
I mean, you know, it's been crazy because I hadn't been doing shows outside of Florida. And then ever since I got with LSP, I've been doing a lot more out-of-state shows, you know. I just did, we went to Bury the Living, the last Bury the Living in Wisconsin. Gorefest is where we got announced and shit. We did Clownpocalypse with the homies Team MUJ out in Indiana. And, yeah, man, it's just opened up a lot of doors. It's definitely got a lot more eyes on me. And it's crazy because there's people that knew about me but didn't necessarily know about me, because like I've done songs with like Ouija Mac and shit in the past, and so people have heard those songs and are just now kind of putting two and two together. That's like, oh, we know about this guy from here, and we didn't realize like he has a whole catalog of like horrorcore shit, you know, like gore hop type shit. So it's been really dope, man. And just like I have a fucking, I don't know if you can see this, an LSP tattoo.
Yeah.
And I've had that for like 10 years now.
Damn.
So, and it's funny because back in the day, I was doing heavy promo for LSP. Like, I'd be on my Facebook all day just fucking promoting LSP, promoting Scum and everything. And then, so I had left Facebook for like 5 years. And when I came back was like shortly after it was announced that I was signed. So a lot of like my old homies that I talked to from promoting are like, holy shit, like you went from being just like a promoter and a fan to being signed to the label. So it's been really dope, man.
It's been great.
Yeah, man. I love LSP. I've got nothing but love for the whole LSP family and shit, and I hope to do a lot of really dope shit with the L.
Me too, man. I love them all. It's great stuff.
Yeah, man.
They put out some high quality stuff. And,
man.
A lot of Midwest dates there. Do you think you'll ever come over to the Pacific Northwest up here where I live up near Seattle, kind of?
Okay. Honestly, yeah, 100%. One of my best friends and fellow artists in like my little squad is this dude Strife. He has an album coming out later this year. He's also the one behind all of our video work. So any videos you've seen recently has been done by Strife. So he's up in Seattle. So definitely trying to get something out there. I know we're going on the Young Snuff tour, me and Cody Manson, in April. And that's just the first leg. And to my understanding, I know it's a lot of like Midwestern areas, but in the summer, we're trying to shoot for West Coast and like Seattle, California type shit.
That'd be dope.
So hopefully soon, man.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of wicked shit and horrorcore out here. And it's mainly because of that. A lot of them live on the West, like Midwest. So
yeah,
it's hard to make the trip all the way out here. There's a lot of like driving through nothing to get to the cities. So
yeah.
So
I mean, in Florida, there is no like wicked shit scene. There's no horrorcore. So when I was doing shows, I'd be on a show with like 15 other people, and it's all kids that are like I'm 29 right now, so it's all kids that are in their like mid to late teens, doing like quote unquote SoundCloud type rap, where it's just like very repetitive or just like kind of singing, kind of not, or just obnoxious screaming. And then I would go on and be rapping like about what I rap about.
Yeah.
So there's not like a scene in Florida either, you know. So I feel your pain.
Yeah. What was the LSP's experimental drug series that I was reading about? That was like kind of a rollout they did.
Yes. So the experimental drug series is basically, that's what I'm a part of right now, you know. It's basically testing the waters. From my understanding, it's Scum and LSP taking artists that wouldn't normally, I guess, fit within the infrastructure of LSP, which I guess my music fits a little bit more just because it's more horrorcore type shit. But it's basically like a one album type thing, and LSP puts out the record, you know, and sees where it goes from there. Cody Manson was the first artist to do the experimental drug series with his record Psychoactive. And he actually just re-signed for another multiple album deal. So that's pretty much just how it works is, nice. You know, LSP just experimenting and working with artists like outside of their normal network.
Do you know of any other artists that might be part of that series, or is it kind of stopping at you?
I know that the series is going to continue, but it's not up to me to release that information. So just stay tuned. Keep your eyes on LSP. because there's definitely a lot more super dope shit to come.
Hell yeah. Are you working a day job or did you switch over to music full time?
I do like on and off like odd job type shit, you know. Mainly I'm trying to focus on like the music shit right now.
Yeah, get it. Let's see, what other questions do I have? Oh yeah, here's a good one. What song are you the most proud of, or maybe do you have a couple that you're just like, God damn, glad I made that?
Honestly, there's a lot of songs on the new record that I'm extremely proud of.
Yeah.
Like, there's a song, it's track 9, it's called Puddle Main, and it's just this crazy fucking story about, like, initially it was being written about like growing old, and everyone has the fear of growing old. And, you know, one day you wake up and your stomach feels a different way than it did before, and like your knee hurts and all this shit, and you're basically like falling apart and just experiencing it. So Puddle Main is a song about everlasting decomposition, you know, just like being in a room and your conscience is still experiencing feelings and thoughts, and your body's just like withering away while your conscious is just like basically watching it, like an out of body experience, like watching the body you lived in for fucking, you know, however long you live, just like rotting away, and nothing you do is going to stop it. You think like blowing your brains out is going to end it, but it just makes it more horrific and more painful. And it's just messier, you know. So that's one of my favorite songs. We got a song called Sunderland's Wonderland, which is loosely based off of Silent Hill 2. I guess it's only just one line based off of Silent Hill, but
that's dope, though. Love gaming.
Yeah, I really like that song. We've been performing that at the last few shows we did. It's just a really catchy song, you know, and I'm really proud of that. Honestly, I'm just really proud of like everything I've been putting out with Dev, man. Like, I feel like I've just been making the best music I've ever made, you know. And we got this new album coming out, and then at the end of the year we already got something else lined up, and then we got a secret project we're working on with another artist, you know. It's just a whole bunch of shit, man. But yeah, I'm really proud of that Puddle Main track, to get back on point.
Oh hell yeah, man. I'm excited. Hearing you're on a web show do you do it every Monday with
every
Devereaux?
single Monday?
Yeah. So you can check him out on Devereaux's Instagram every Monday. At what time is that?
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We usually start about like between 9 and 9:20, depending on like how awake everyone is, you know, after a fucking long day, long Monday. But yeah, it's just, you know, Swamp Rats is just homies, you know, talking shit about each other, talking shit about everyone else, you know. It's just homies having fun, you know. And that's actually Devereaux, myself, Young Strife, and Frankie Goldie. We make up like the Swamp Society, aka the Swamp Rats.
I was wondering what the Swamp Society was, because I saw that on a few of your things, and I tried to look it up, and I couldn't really figure it out.
Yeah, that's something where we're just kind of starting out this year, and we're testing the waters with different things. But that's basically like the home team, you know.
Nice.
That's
cool. So what are you listening to lately?
I've been listening to that new Korn record, Requiem. I fuck with that.
I didn't know they had a new one.
Yeah, they just put out a new record this week or last week. I like it's a lot more mellow than their other shit. It's still heavy, but I like it, you know. And then Insane Clown Posse's Yum Yum Bedlam.
Good.
I love that record, man.
So
It's so fucking crazy good, and there's just so many like really good songs on there that take me back to the time when I first found out about ICP. Like Wretched is in my top 5 ICP songs of all time. Really, and then Clown Drippin' is modern day Hocus Pocus, you know. It's just like clowns rapping about clown swag type shit, you know.
And Panic Attack, man, that song is just like I can relate to that, because I was having those issues around the time that album came out. So
yeah, man,
and I'm over him now because of Zoloft, thank God. But
Yeah, man. I've definitely been through multiple panic attacks, and I currently have high anxiety. I don't like taking medication for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like one of my guilty pleasures, I guess, is like kind of corny '90s music.
Mm-hmm.
And that song, Panic Attack, is a rip on a Tracy Bonham song called Mother Mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you listen to Mother Mother, like the hook of it, where Jay's like screaming,
Yeah.
he's like emulating the way her cadences went, but obviously saying like way different things. And the guitar is like a sample of the guitar from that song.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Panic Attack's one of my favorites, man. I love that fucking song.
And then there's what's the one with the guy from Sponge on it? It's like a rock anthem.
Heart and Soul.
That song's crazy.
That's such a fucking weird song.
I accidentally I put it on and I woke up. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, that song was on. I was like, "What the fuck am I listening to?" And I looked at it, I'm like, "ICP, what?"
Yeah. That's actually a fucking cover song, which I found out like a day or two ago.
Really?
That's a straightforward, just like pretty much word for word cover of like some old 80s like chick singer song. I don't like, honestly, that's the one song on the record I will skip, but it's not because of the tone. It's just every time the Sponge guy, his vocals come in over the verse, I'm like, this is just driving me fucking insane right now.
It sounds like a commercial or something.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah,
but I mean, the reason I like it is it just shows all of their sides on that album, and it's just really eclectic. I'm glad they went in that direction. Like, everybody was saying it was going to be like a Riddle Box album, and that would have been cool, but like, we got a few Riddle Box style songs on there, but I feel like you got pretty much everything from every Joker's card on that. So that's kind of how I wanted it to be.
Yeah, honestly, if it reminds me of anything, it kind of reminds me of Shangri-La, just with like tonality of it and everything. But there's some fucked up shit on that record, like it's really fucking good, man. But that's basically, I've been listening to a lot of that. I stay listening to like the shit I've always listened to, so I'm always listening to like ICP or Misfits or Slipknot or Korn. That's at any given moment probably
Classics.
what I'm listening to. Yeah, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So,
well, are there any modern horrorcore artists that you think people should start like tuning into that aren't getting enough shine right now?
Honestly, it's crazy because there's really not many like active horrorcore artists that I can think of off the top, pretty much. Like obviously LSP is your one-stop shop for horrorcore.
Yeah,
like all the active horrorcore that's really good is on LSP. The homie Jigsaw Killa, he is someone that definitely deserves more shine. He's a horrorcore artist out of Indiana. Super fucking dope, my boy I was talking about earlier, Strife, he doesn't do like traditional horrorcore, but his shit is more of like a mental horror type thing,
Okay.
So I wish there was like more people. Worm's another good example. He came from like kind of the same background as me, like started on SoundCloud and shit, but his shit is fucking dark, man. Like his shit's just really fucking brutal sounding. Cool. He mixes like black metal with like trap rap music. Nice. It's really dope.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard that guy Gizmo from somebody, and like,
yeah,
he kind of does the metal vocals over like a trap style.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, sounds like that style's getting kind of popular now.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
Like blowing the gain out, like.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done on stage? I've heard you got some pretty crazy shows.
Yeah, man. Back in the day, like the shows, we'd get really violent. I was in a group with another guy, R.I.P. Dev Disastrous, and we'd be basically fighting people the whole show, like just fucking throwing hands with people. I've picked kids up and thrown them into walls and shit. I fucking pulled my fucking ass out. I've been like basically naked, cut myself, bled all over the place, like. When I'm performing, I just like get into a certain space in my head where it's like anything goes, and it's just about having fun and just unleashing, because the music's so fucking odd, it's got to have like an odd performance with it, so I really look at it like more as performance art than anything, Like when I'm performing, it's really just about giving people a show. So if I feel like the crowd is getting kind of dull, I'll think of something fucking weird to do, you know?
Yep.
But I've, you know, like I've been leaking out of my fucking forehead. A lot of people ask me, because I'll hit myself in the face with a microphone a bunch. And it's just like spur of the moment shit. It's not like choreographed or something. I don't want to be doing that necessarily because it hurts. It's just, you know,
that's your rage. It's your rage coming out.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool that you have that. I know that you have a little bit of influence from G.G. Allin because you got that song "Eat Shit and Die," which is like a "Bite It You Scum" tribute.
Yeah,
another tribute song.
Yeah, man. I fuck with G.G. Allin. Not all of his music is great.
Yeah,
but there is some good shit in there. Yeah. You know. But yeah, the homie Cuddy made that "Bite It You Scum" beat, and I was like, oh man, this would be dope to make like kind of go back and make more of a punk song to it, you know. So that's what we did.
That was awesome. I like that song.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Last question. Do you collect anything? Are you a collector or?
Yeah, man. I fucking CDs,
yeah,
DVDs, vinyl, cassettes.
Nice.
Basically shit like that, you know. I got a pretty good collection of horror movies and just like gore flicks and shit. I've got a really big collection of CDs. My vinyl collection, I just started collecting vinyl not that long ago, but it's getting up there.
Nice.
So, yeah, man.
Hell yeah. I collect horror movies, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's can get out of control though, so I had
definitely.
I cut myself off. I sold like I don't know, like $5,000 worth of VHS tapes a couple of years ago, and
holy shit!
I had so much shit, man. It was crazy.
It's so hard to let go of certain things, but I kind of stopped collecting movies a little while ago just because it did get so expensive. You know, like trying to find a Blu-ray copy of Dead Alive that doesn't cost fucking $100+.
And of course, you want the unrated version, not the cut. So
yeah, you don't want some fucking booty ass shit. I spent. It's such a stupid fucking story. I spent like $50 on a copy of Blood Feast, and it came as the rated version and not the unrated version. I'm like, this is garbage. Like, I don't want this, and I just spent $50 on it, and now you can't find it for any good price. You know, especially trying to find like old Grindhouse flicks and shit. It sucks, man. It's definitely a labor of love if you're gonna get deep into collecting.
Yeah, but sometimes it feels like you have to collect it or you're never gonna be able to see it again. So
exactly, yeah.
Or it's cool to be able to watch it whenever you want. Horror movies are just so watchable. You can watch them over and over again.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, man. This is the second episode, and like, I think it was a really good one. Talked about a lot of fucking shit. I would love to have you on maybe in a year or something, just like catch up again, see where your career went from here on. But I really appreciate it. Social media, does anyone? Looks like you have pretty much everything.
Yeah, man. Darby O'Trill, just DARBYOTRILL on anything. You'll find me. You know, got a new album coming out, Gully, very soon. The Young Snuff Tour with Cody Manson and I this April, leg 1. And just a whole bunch of more shit that I can't really talk about right now. But
yeah, sounds like a
lot. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been really dope talking to you, man.
Oh, for sure.
Anytime you want me on.
Hell yeah, man.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
I remember when I was the age of 6. I found a dead cat in the woods and tried to play with it. I'm 24 now, I haven't changed a bit. Watching invaders and while I'm chopping up my neighbor's kids. In my basement there's a tank of piss. I open it and place you in, take you out and serve you up a plate of dick. On your Facebook you claim to be a Satanist, but deep down it makes you so afraid that Satan may exist. No God could ever save you, bitch. You gave yourself to religion and now you're just a slave to it. Please allow me to show you what something sacred is, as I dig around what's left inside your filthy mangled ribs. Pulled out your heart, I licked it, then I bit that bitch. I stab you to the beat of that old school wicked shit. Hell's pit bumping during your dismemberment. Red moon in the sky and it's looking quite devilish.